Today's project diary is a response video to those people who have messaged me to say they're struggling with motivation and loneliness. So I've made this video a little bit longer than usual, so hopefully you can keep me company on my very first nature walk in the country. Hi guys and welcome to Project Diaries. Today's video is completely spontaneous. I have no idea what I'm going to do in today's video, but I've just been talking to one of my neighbours and she's just come back with loads of bags of apples and blackberries and fruit. And I said, where'd you get those? She was like, well, there's an eco-friendly community garden around the back. And I was like, no way, I've lived here all of my life and I didn't even know that. So today I'm going to go on the road. I've got my backpack, I've got my lemon water. I'm going to take some gloves just in case I get in some trouble, because maybe hogweed or something, I'm not sure. I'm just going to be prepared. But also today I really want to say a massive congratulations to so many people that are getting involved in this 6-week challenge that I'm doing. If you didn't see my nutrition video, I'm overwhelmed. I really thought I held back on that video because I thought I was going to get a lot of stick and people were going to be a bit resistant, but it's been overwhelming. The support and just the positivity has been absolutely incredible, and I'm so glad that so many of you are just changing. You know, you don't have to do it as strict as me, but if you're going in the right direction of a healthy diet, especially growing your own food, you know, there's nothing more important and rewarding than growing your own food. But anyway, I want to get into today's video, so I'm going to stick my backpack on. Now this is also going to be the first time I'm going to walk. Now if you've been following my channel, I've basically been on crutches. Well, about 4 years ago I started using a cane. I struggle to walk any distance. I'm okay at small distances, but I went from a cane to a crutch, and then onto 2 crutches, and then eventually into a wheelchair at one point. But I'm getting better, and I really feel like this diet is it's giving me strength, and it's taking away my fatigue and my muscle aches and my joint pain from arthritis, you know, with all the anti-inflammatories. So I just want to show you, I will do a 6-week result video you know, later on, but I don't want to do any spoiler alerts. But I want to take you on this journey to go and find this secret garden that's been here forever. So let's get back in. So I've got to be careful filming because I really don't want more people finding out where Grandad lives and posting his address, because that's still a problem. But I think I'm far enough away from the house. But even that small amount of walking has completely done me in. I can tell that the medication's still having effect on my respiratory system, but it took me about a month to get off those. But I feel so much better. You know, it's quite tough coming off those and having the withdrawal symptoms. But I'm just going to cross the road and have a sit down for a quick second. So I've just come up the hill. Well, I've been looking after Grandad for so long now, and I basically just go to his house, look after him, do project diaries and go home. And I've just forgot how awesome this area is. And I've just come up the road behind where he lives, and I totally forgot about this playground. I mean, it's completely abandoned now, but this place, I grew up here, and I can't believe my favourite climbing frame is still here. Look at this. I knew this when I was a kid. This was huge. But I used to get in the middle here. Hang on, let me get in. I'm stuck. I'm definitely bigger than I used to be. I'm gonna get out. Here we go. Now this. Oh my goodness, this is great. Look. So when I was a kid, I couldn't even get on this. I couldn't even jump this high. I was so short as a youngster. I used to have to climb up here, and I used to hang for days. This used to be amazing. They always told me I shouldn't hang or climb because of my spine condition, but I was a monkey when I was a kid, and it just built up my upper body strength. Oh, this is a good fun bit of nostalgia. I didn't expect to see this. Just that alone has made it worth it. But I want to continue to see what else we can find. I think I've bitten off a little bit more than I could chew. My breathing's really bad at the moment, so I'm just going to take it easy. But that's already further than I've ever walked. Well, recreationally walked in the past 4 years anyway. Hang on, I'm going to have a rest. So look at this. All of these are blackberries. everywhere. This used to be the funnest thing as a kid. It was amazing. It's always this time of year. It seems to go on forever. We used to go out as a big family, pick loads of blackberries and find apples and plums, all wild in the parks. So this is a really nice little trip. Yeah, I needed this. It's been fun. Let's go and carry on up the hill. Always pick the juicy ones that are high up, and that way you got away from any dog wee and things like that. So I'm going to pick all of these. So I think this is where it begins. Look, loads of trees. Now I can't really tell what they are. I think there's some black currants down there. I think it's some elderflower. It's hard to tell at this distance. I'm going to see if I can find a way in. Wow. Oh, there's an allotment up here. Have a look. Look at this. Now I'm going to swap angles to see if I can get a zoom in, but this camera hasn't got a decent zoom. But look at these. Look at that. Look at the size of those dahlias. Now I'm not sure if you can see them, but they are huge. They're about the size of my head. Now if you don't know, that dahlias are literally my favourite flower to grow. Now I don't know much about flowers, I'm still learning on that side, but dahlias was one of the first things that I did. You can check the video out here. Now I took my first seeds from my dad's flowers in his garden, and he said there's no way you could do that, son, you have to grow them from tubers. But within a year I managed to grow loads and loads of different types of dahlias, and I was hooked straight away, because you can get the seeds, and every time you get the seeds from the head, you never know, you're not determined what flower you're going to get, because 50% comes from the pollinator and 50% comes from the original parent plant. I've just had to walk on a bit because I need to sit down. I found this amazing bench. Look at that. Incredible. So, yeah, so what I was saying, 50% comes from the parent plant. So when you harvest the seeds, wow, what a backdrop that is. When you harvest the seeds from dahlias, you never know. It's completely experimental. So you go through the growing process, and you could get, like the original seeds that I got were from sort of like a pinky purple flower, and then once they were pollinated and I grew the seeds, they came back. You'd never guess what kind of head they were going to come out with, what colour they were going to come out with, and it ended up being a bright vibrant yellow, and I was absolutely blown away. It kind of went from bright yellow into like a creamy custardy colour, and that was my favourite colour. So for me to grow my favourite colour from a first plant, it was absolutely incredible. So that's why I like dahlias. It's made me happy finding them, and the sun's out. Oh, this is fantastic. Gonna have a little rest and then move on. Look at this. This is the first time I've actually seen these warnings around this area. This is about wild parsnips and common hogweed. I'm going to try not to get any hogweed on me, but if you want to see the video, the link is here. I did a 4-minute video on the dangers of hogweed. But again, I got a bit of backlash on that, with people saying that I was interchanging between hogweed and giant hogweed. But I thought I made it pretty clear. Native hogweed, UK hogweed, is fairly dangerous, but the giant hogweed is really dangerous. But they're all phototoxicity. So if you basically get any of the sap or anything on your skin, especially now the sun's right out, this is why I bought a hoodie, in case I do get into some sort of danger, and I brought the gloves for later on, hopefully. But yeah, you've got to be really careful with hogweed, any type. I did say that they were edible, but again, unless you know what you're doing, don't eat it. It's the same as mushrooms or berries. You wouldn't just go out and start eating all kinds of mushrooms that you see. You need to learn and need to do some research yourself. I'm limited with certain parts of YouTube. Some people like short videos, some people like long videos, and I thought I'd do a 4-minute hogweed video, but it still wasn't perfect enough for people. But I really hope it helps some people avoid these, especially for their kids and their animals, because it can cause a nasty scar, as you can see from the poster here. So yeah, I'm glad I just found that. That's great. Wow, Look at that whole field of hogweed. What beautiful colours. There's not even a filter on this camera. It is that beautiful today. What a day to come out. That was amazing. And there's also some nettles. I don't know if you can see here. There's loads of stinging nettles. Now I'm not sure if I've released my stinging nettle video yet, but there's one on the way if I haven't already. There might be a link here, but I might be delayed on that one for the editing. But yeah, stinging nettles are really beneficial for the garden. Again, wear gloves, wear protection, wear long sleeves. I got stung by lots of these when I was a kid. I got pushed into a nettle bush and I pretty much stung all over my body. So I've had the fear with this plant for a while, but now I know how beneficial they are. You can basically just steep them in a tea. I think it was just fill up a bucket and put loads of water in it. It's quite easy, but that gives you a really good nitrogen feed, and nitrogen's really good for leafy greens. So if you're growing lettuce and cabbage, anything that you really want to get a full green nitrogen based feed, and so stinging nettles is great, and there's an abundance of it here, and it's all free. So I'm just coming down here. Look, don't know if you can see these. Now I'm going to hazard a guess. I'm going to try and go down here without getting stung. I did wear my jeans specifically today because I didn't fancy getting stung by anything. So these, I think what they're doing is they're keeping these for hedgehogs. Hedgehogs love these kind of places to hang out. Correct me if I'm wrong in the comments below. But yeah. And hedgehogs are so beneficial for your garden. They eat so many slugs and snails. I mean, they can eat their body weight in slugs and snails on daily. Look at these. Look. There's loads. Loads at the back. So yeah, I've actually built one of these in the garden. And all it is just old twigs. Just mound them up. Yeah, look, they've got loads of them. So you mount them up into a little home, and hedgehogs love going in there. But I did hear when I was a kid that around bonfire time that people were setting fire to these, and obviously that was killing off quite a lot of hedgehogs, which was bad. So I don't really see many hedgehogs in the garden anymore. I used to at my parents' place, but I haven't seen any in Grandad's garden. And because I'm so close to nature, I thought I would have. So I built one of these little homes to hopefully encourage them in, because I've had a really bad slug problem this year. I don't know if you have. Again, let me know in the comments below. They've just been everywhere. I've done everything I could. I got the stop for a bit. Yeah, I used the beer traps here. You know, I did loads of encouragement to try and stop slugs. The garden was run down this year, so there was loads of little hidey holes and stuff, but I did the best that I could, but I just couldn't get on top of it. There was absolutely thousands of it because it was really warm at the beginning of the season, and then we got a really wet phase. Gosh, it's really hard to talk and walk, especially if this is the first time out. But this is amazing. But yeah, definitely try and encourage hedgehogs into your garden, and those are the best ways to do it. So I was just picking these because there's loads of blackberry bushes all over here. And then I found this. It's mint. It smells absolutely incredible. The whole area just smells really fresh and tasty. I'm going to eat some because I don't care. Get some of that. Come here. Right, let's get back to picking. So I think I've just found the entrance to the orchard. I've seen lots of different apple trees and stuff up there. But even though I'm really hot and sweaty, I found some, I've noticed there's loads of hogweed up there, so I'm going to get my hoodie on just to cover my arms. Like I said in the other video, you don't want to get this hogweed sap or anything like that on your skin, even though the sun's going down now. If you do, you basically just want to cover it up and keep it away from sunlight and wash it off as soon as you can. But I want to get all nice and sweaty. Let's go and find some apples. So I'm loving the amount of bark. It's really good for mulch. It's great carbon. It's really good for the soil. I love all these logs as well. So yeah, let's see. Hopefully all of the apples haven't already been picked. It's still a little bit early in the season, but we could go around here and have a look. Oh, I just missed a bunny. There's a rabbit. Just poked his head out of there. Hey bunny, bunny. Come out and play. I'm gonna have to practice my Dr. Dolittle skills. But yeah, look. There's no signs of what apples they are. But look, there's loads. Absolutely loads. Look at these. Oh, get off me. Yeah. Yeah, these are going to be great. Look at how many we're going to get. Look, just that little bunch there. That's already more than what I've been able to grow this year, because down where Grandad lives, it was really windy around the blossom phase. So it basically knocked all the flowers off through the pollinating stage. And it's, you know, I've basically got maybe a handful of apples. So it's really nice to know that these are here. I just wish I knew what kind of apples they were. So you just want to make sure you're not eating raw cooking apples, because they can upset your stomach. Let's go and find out, see what else is around. Now I have just spotted something beautiful. I'm going to try not to tread in loads of nettles here. But look at these. If anyone knows what these are stunning. Let me switch it around. Absolutely beautiful. I'm going to take a picture of that. That's going to be on my Instagram. Look at that. Hey Mr. B. Now the one thing I did notice at the beginning of quarantine is there was thousands of pollinators around. It was incredible. And because people weren't getting around and the pollution was down from traffic, it just felt like there was so many more insects around this year. And it was amazing to see. I just love sitting out in the front garden and just seeing so much wildlife literally inches away from my head. It was fantastic. And I also seemed to see loads and loads more birds this year, and just everything. There was just so much more wildlife in the garden this year, which was fantastic. Hello. Look at this. These ones are better. Now I still think we've got a little bit of time to go yet on these, so I might have to come back. But that's not a problem. I'm absolutely loving this. But yeah, like I was saying about the garden, is that I've definitely noticed Grandad is one of the old school people that loves sitting in his front garden and talking to neighbours, and I've really adapted that way of life. You know, being with Grandad for sort of 16 hours a day, the good side of that generation really rubs off on you. Yeah, and I realised that when I was living elsewhere, that there isn't that sense of community. Which is why when I found out about this garden, I had to come and see what it was all about. You know, I think after the war and through the 60s, everyone was way more friendly. And then I think sort of mid-80s came in, and the whole don't talk to strangers thing. They tried to keep their kids inside. Look at this is great. So, yeah, I think all of that really change the way that society thinks, in my own opinion anyway. I'm just going to sit down here. So yeah, and people just stopped sitting in their front gardens. You know, they went to their back gardens, kept more private, and then the electronic phase or era came in, and now kids are, you know, stuck indoors on their computers, iPads, and they rarely see outside. Which then brings me on to vitamin D. I can't remember the statistic. I think it was something like 42% of people in the UK and America are vitamin D deficient. Now obviously the UK doesn't get the best amount of weather as it is, and that doesn't matter what diet you're on, whether you're an omnivore, pescatarian, vegetarian or vegan. You know, people still have vitamin D deficiencies because of the fact that we don't get enough sunlight in this country, and people don't understand how detrimental that can be to your mental health, physical health. You know, your bones, the way your muscles are, it can cause muscle fatigue. And I definitely believe that me being bedbound for 10 months, you know, I physically couldn't get outside. I definitely feel that the vitamin D deficiency and the iron, my low iron levels were a huge problem in my house. But the doctors just didn't take that into consideration. You know, they don't think, most doctors don't have nutrition education. I think they do it for maybe a week, but they don't have in-depth knowledge of nutrition. So doctors are always trained in pharmaceuticals, you know, what drug's going to cure you rather than what food is going to cure you. So me doing this 6-week challenge and learning more about nutrition, you know, I learned a lot about nutrition because of Grandad. After he had his first heart attack, that was when I started looking after him. I think, I can't remember now, it's quite a while ago, about 5 years ago. You know, I wanted to research nutrition to find out what was going to be good for his heart, what was going to help him, especially after the stroke that he had, what was going to minimize his stroke, what was going to minimize inflammation, help his blood. So I started giving him more foods that were rich in antioxidants and you know, like garlics and tomatoes, and trying to get him away from sugar. He had a huge sugar tooth. You know, he loved donuts and cake, and Mum's the same now, and Mum's having some health problems. You know, she's having sleeping problems because, you know, you haven't seen the video yet, but once I've finished my 6-week challenge, I work out what people are eating and find out what they're low in, and then I can basically say what their ailments are and what their problems are. So when I did that with Mum, I realised that she was low in zinc and low in B vitamins, low in potassium. So I was like, you know, this is why you're having sleeping problems, this is why you're having anxiety problems, this is why you're fatigued and you're low in energy. And she, you know, she kind of just fobs me off. But, you know, I just wish that people could really look at nutrition first. You know, they say alternative medicines, but I feel like pharmaceuticals should be the alternative. Food, nature should be the first medicine that we go to. But yeah, I've had my little rest. Let's carry on. What do we have here? Oh, these little plums. I wonder if they're Victorias. They look a bit too small for Victorias. It's really good to have so many different distractions while I'm walking. Takes the mind off my pain. I do feel like I should start heading back, but I'm just having such a lovely time being stuck indoors for so long. You know, and I've had my down days and I've had my really good days. You know, sometimes it's nice to be by yourself. Look at this little fella. Hello, mate. How are you? Like a nut. Yeah, I mean, like I say, I'd already been in virtual quarantine before all of this COVID stuff hit, and I went through a lot of problems, you know, and I learned to deal with loneliness and depression, and it can be tough, you know, and you can get stuck in a rut, you know. And the reason why I'm doing this today is because yesterday I really felt like I was at a low point. You know, I've started this diet, and the first week was really difficult. I'm not going to lie. There's a bunch of kids coming, so this might get noisy. Yeah, the first week was really, really tough. Coming off sugar and caffeine were just as hard as coming off some of the pharmaceuticals. You know, the withdrawals from, you know, certain muscle relaxants and opioid painkillers and things like that is just as addictive as sugar. Well, sugar's even more addictive. You know, they've done tests to see that sugar's even more addictive than cocaine. So, you know, the first week for me to do this, oh wow, look at these. I'm just too busy talking. Beautiful flowers. Yeah, so, you know, I did it really quickly. I just cut everything out of my diet because I wanted results as quickly as possible. So I had headaches and withdrawals, and my mood swings were weird. You know, but I can't confuse that with the amount of stress that I also had, juggling my pain, juggling the NHS, juggling the government, you know, fear for Grandad, and, just so much going on at once. It was hard for me to, you know, you can't just say, oh well, this is the diet, it's clearly because you need this, that. You know, I had to detox and I had to get it out of my system. But now I've done it, I feel amazing. I mean, look at me, I've got a tripod rather than crutches. So it's definitely been life-changing. Definitely, and I highly recommend people do it in their ability. I think I'm stuck here now. Yep, I'm stuck. Hang on, I have to go back. Yeah, I mean, if people tell you that the whole food diet is expensive, I've been to America, I've been to Canada, I've been to many other countries, and England is cheaper on natural produce. You know, and this is all down to with subsidies, government subsidies, milk, you know, dairy industry, meat industry. The government subsidise that, so you know we can get really cheap factory farmed meats. So you can get a 99p or 99-cent Big Mac, and you know sometimes cabbages or especially avocados, you know, they could be twice that. So you know, I think we need to change our habits, especially, you know, I don't want to get too political, but we need to figure out who's voting for what. And if governments are pushing towards unhealthy, processed, factory farmed meat and foods and not looking at the healthy alternatives, we need to look after all of the farmers that are producing all kinds of fruits and vegetables. You know, I think it was a couple of years ago when I did my courgette video, my zucchini video, we had a shortage of UK courgettes, and they were all coming over from Spain and Italy, I think it was. You know, we had a really bad crop, but we need to look after our farmers. But and then what happened was when the farmers actually had the produce, with all the Brexit and immigration stuff, they didn't have anyone to pick the fruit or the vegetables, so loads of it went to waste. You know, because a lot of these workers were coming over from Poland and places like that, and then the farmers just couldn't get anybody from the UK to want to go out and pick fruits and vegetables. So, you know, there's just this whole process that's just been a bit pushed to extremes over the past few years. But yeah, you need to realise that, you know, rice and pasta, potatoes, all of these legumes, beans, they're all some of the cheapest produce that you can get around the world. And there's so many different cultures that are rice based or lentil based, and there's an amazing amount of variations of recipes that you can get, and it's fantastic. So if anyone says that this diet is really expensive, then they're probably pushing towards the avocados and the mock meats and the really expensive side of it. But once you strip it down and get down to the core structure of nutrition, it's as cheap as anything. So this is what they're growing. This is great. I've not had these before, I've not seen these, but these are edible. And we've got hazelnuts. I need to find them because they're amazing. Oh, okay, here we go. Oh, so they were prunes. Okay, they weren't plums. We've got some pears, some apples, different types of apples here. Oh yeah, you've got elderflower. It's great. And the other thing is that if the UK is not producing all of this fruits and vegetables, then we're importing it. And it basically gets picked really early, it gets ripened en route, ethylene gas most of the time, you know, and it's not allowed to develop the flavours and the maturity. So when we finally get it after it's been shipped and we get it on our shop shelves, then, you know, it's got a really short shelf life because it's been in transport for so long. You know, this is why I'm trying to encourage people to grow their own, because it's, you know, it's amazingly fresh and it lasts a lot longer than shop bought. Have a look at this. Just walking around here. Look at this. Look at that. It goes all the way, as far as the eye could see. All these trees are just bowing over. Wow, it looks like some kind of fairy movie, like fantasy movie thing. I'm gonna go up there. Let's go. bit short down here. I used to go bivouacking down here all the time. Used to build a little log cabin in the trees. Oh wow. Let's go through. I'm absolutely boiling, so I think I'm far away from the hogweed now. Gotta get rid of this. Sun's out. I think I've timed it right. Now this is my favourite time of the day. I call this the golden hour because everything just goes golden when the sun's going down. And get some of my lemon water. Hydration is key. Ooh. Oh. Yeah, the golden hour. It just seems to bring everything alive. It's by far my favourite time of the day. I always used to love going out for drives or walks. So to have such a glorious day on my first recreational walk in years is fantastic. I can tell I'm getting tired now, but I'm going to persist because I'm enjoying walking with you guys, and I'm just amazed that all of this is on my doorstep. I really want to find those hazelnuts. There's clouds. Now, out of respect, I'm going to be careful what I'm filming here, but I've just walked around the corner and there are loads of families and kids here, and they're all picking fruit and berries. I don't know if you can hear the kids. They're having an amazing time. I don't want to get any of the kids on camera because of privacy issues. Oh wow, look at this. Look at the size of this. Look at that one. I was ready to go. So once you found the apple that you want, well, it came in the screen straight away. Once you found the apples you want, what you want to do is test if they're ripe. I'm not going to do it with this one here. I think this is the biggest one. All you want to do is just get 2 fingers and twist it, and if it doesn't come off straight away, it's not ready. So these are really young, you can tell. These are just really young. So none of these are going to come off yet. So I'm not going to pick these, but I'm going to keep looking to see if I can find some more. So this must be the area that everyone's harvesting from. Oh wow, there's loads of people up here. So yeah, so I can't remember if I finished my talk about the gardens. But yeah, like Grandad's generation always sat in the front of the garden and always said hello to neighbours. It was a British thing, always sit out in the front. Look at the colour of the sky. Always sit out the front garden talking to the neighbours, and you know, it was just keep calm and carry on. You know, now kids, it's really tough to get kids outside now. And I think places like this, I mean, I'm having a fantastic time. And you can hear the kids in the background, they're having an absolute whale of a time. And there's different, it's crazy. I just want to find something that I can pick. I'm just trying to move away from the families because I don't want to film the kids. But yeah, the elderflowers. Hang on, where was I? Yeah, so, you know, I've noticed, you know, I always try to encourage Grandad to get outside, trying to get his vitamin D levels up, and it always boosted his spirits. It's quite easy to get stuck in a rut and be in, you know, stuck in 4 walls, especially with quarantine. And I understand that a lot of my friends were having trouble, and because I'd been ill for so long, you know, I went through some issues as well, because, you know, no one really seemed to understand the place that I was at when I needed them. My friends didn't come and see me when I was really ill. You know, no one really called. There was no one video calling and stuff like that. It was always text, and you know, I'd go weeks without hearing a voice that wasn't just my mum's or my nurses and doctors. And it's tough. It's tough on the brain. So I understand that people were having trouble, but now I'm becoming, you know, more of a mentor for those people, and I'm hoping that my videos are helping others as well, because you can get stuck in a rut, and you know, especially when you're trying to get these dopamine fixes, and you usually get them by working or, You know, and this is why people at harsh times turn to gambling or alcohol or drugs or shopping or whatever it is. You've probably got some kind of dopamine addiction that you're not even aware of, whether it's checking your phone, social media. Oh, I got a like today, little dopamine hit. You know, I bought something online today, I didn't really need it. It arrives, little dopamine hit. You know, and I think that is now, it's going to grow in a negative way, and it's going to be tough for people to get out of those ruts. So rather than seeing the big goal, you know, your huge achievement goals that are just basically stopping you in your tracks. You know, you can't go to the gym, but instead of I can't go to the gym, how about doing something at home? You know, rather than just shutting it down. You know, a lot of people used to finish work in their busy lifestyles, and you know, it's like, oh, I can't fit in an hour's gym session today, but they could have easily done 45 minutes. But instead of doing that hour, you know, they were so fixed in their mentality they couldn't do the hour, so therefore they didn't do anything at all, rather than just saying, well, I could have done the 45 minutes. Or, you know, with me, I was really struggling, especially when I was in all the painkillers and everything else, is that you know, I was seeing the big picture. You know, I was struggling getting in the shower, I was struggling changing my clothes. You know, so I brought it down to small things. Today I'm going to eat a healthy breakfast or a healthy smoothie. One of the big changes that I noticed before I even started this 6-week challenge was I changed my cereal. I was on kids cereal that I thought was healthy until I checked the sugar levels. Now you really need around, I think it's 17 grams of sugar per day. And that was, I can't remember it now. I think it was something like 19 grams of sugar in the serving that I was having of this cereal. And this is for kids. I'm not going to say what they are, but you know, so I changed it to a more bran flakes. You know, low sugar, low salt, high fiber, high iron, high B12, and I put in fresh blueberries. And I noticed literally within a few days that my joint pain had gone. Some of my fatigue had gone. You know, sugar's inflammatory, but antioxidants, you know, reduce those inflammatory markers. So this is why I'm doing what I'm doing, and this is why I'm sharing the story that I'm sharing, because I understand that there's a lot of people in a rut, and a lot of people are struggling. So whatever level you're at, you know, try and get out of your rut by giving yourself small targets, small achievements. Yes, I've had a healthy breakfast today, or you know, I didn't check my social media for a day. I came off everything, you know, and I apologise to those people. You know, when I did my quarantine video, I did it abruptly because the world just became really overwhelming. You know, the whole bureaucracy and people sharing where I was living and the TV stuff and the popularity. It was amazing, but it was just too much for me at that time. And now I just took a step back, you know, got back into my own little bubble, did what I needed to do, get the achievements that I did, because, you know, I was also after those dopamine fixes. And when I put a video out and loads of people were like, oh, it's amazing, it's fantastic, you know, that was my dopamine hit when I was trying to come off medication. But, you know, when the videos were then starting to get a lot of negative press, I loved the fact that I was on TV, but I do feel like me being open up to such a vast array of people brought a lot of nasty people to Project Diaries, especially in the Facebook gardening group. You know, that the Facebook channel, the YouTube channel was already blowing up before the TV stuff, but it was the group that really took the biggest hit after the TV stuff. And there were a lot of nasty people that came with that. So I stopped doing the TV stuff because I want this to be organic. You know, pun intended. I want the growth of this channel to be organic, as well as what I'm growing to be organic. Because, you know, it takes a certain amount of people to make these changes. You know, I was part of the music industry. I'm probably going to be the last group of people to go back to work. You know, venues are not going to be open for quite a long time. And the creativity of graphic designers and musicians and, you know, just people that want to create are kind of subdued in this time. So I'm trying to get my creativity in another way by teaching myself nutrition, and it's been amazing. It has been the best rabbit hole I could possibly fall down. The families are chipping out now, so I'm going to go over there and see what they've been picking. So what I'm trying to say is that being bored is okay. Short-term boredom is fine. You know, I've been such a high achiever that I think sitting around doing nothing is a waste of time. But if you're getting so used to having all these dopamine fixes from whatever source you're getting them from, you're setting the boundaries so high and your body just wants more and more. So, you know, you play video games longer, or you drink more, or, you know, you buy more in the shops, or, you know, you spend more time on the internet. So for me, when I got bored, I realised that allowing myself to be bored for a couple of days resets those dopamine levels. It stops you expecting so much and needing so much. So a few days off, let yourself calm down. Stay away from the computers, stay away from your phone, stay away from the music, TV, things that are not really creative in necessarily building a future for you. I know there's loads of people making money out of computer games and stuff, but what are you actually getting out of binge watching TV? And it's great if you're binge watching Project Diaries. Hopefully you're learning and feeling inspired by that. So as long as it's helping your future, then that's great. So, you know, the days that I was bored, I found it quite harmful, but now I've changed my way of thinking and allowing me to have space away from technology, you know, TV, music even. And I've just put all that beside me, and I've then focused on, you know, if I listen to music, it's meditation music or natural sounds, weird hippie stuff, but whale music's been really calming me down and filling that gap. And meditation itself really helped my mental state, and it helped me get through a lot of pain. But just allow yourself to clear your mind. You know, there's some people say they can't get into meditation because they just can't switch off. So if you are bored, use that time to try and train your brain to have a break, and, you know, allow yourself to not do anything. So when it comes back to looking for those dopamine fixes, you find it in things that you just couldn't be bothered with before. You know, like me, I've left the washing up for like 3 days. I'm like, I just can't be bothered with that because it doesn't really do anything for my dopamine levels. But once you've had that break, it's like, oh, you know, that's not a big deal anymore. I might actually get some gratification out of doing the washing up. You know, that's just one example. But yeah, there's loads of things. You know, washing the floor, cleaning my room. You start, then once you've had that reset for a few days, you can then start enjoying things like cooking, getting in the garden again, meditating. You know, so many things. I'm getting tired now, so my voice is slowing down, but you know, things like that are really good for the brain, good for the body, and good to get you back on track, because it's really difficult to get back on track once you've had that lull. I'm going to see what's up here. Look at that. That's a bit of me, that. I'm going to have a rest. Look at these. I found some pears at least. I'm definitely going to have to come back. This is amazing. Absolutely amazing. I thought I put my hand in some hogweed then, but I didn't, so that's good. This is fun. I hope you're enjoying this trip, because this is the most amount of freedom that I've had in so long. In so long. So I must have counted probably about 50 pear trees. But there's so many different sections of this. This isn't not just one area. I've just had to climb through these bushes, and there's another massive opening here. And there's pear trees and apple trees absolutely everywhere, and they're all different variety. This is absolute madness. How is this on my doorstep? And I didn't even know. Oh my goodness. I hope I can find my way back. Look at the sky, gorgeous colours. You know, and I've sat there a few days, you know, and I've felt sorry for myself, and you know, everyone does it sometimes. But it's the small steps. You know, rather than seeing, like today, I had no idea how far I was going to walk, and I'm really going to hurt tomorrow. But if I would have then said to myself, you know, I'm going to go on however far I've gone, mile, I'm probably over exaggerating, but you know, I'm going to go on a mile hike today. It's a big target for somebody who hasn't walked before for a while, you know. So to encourage me to do this, I was like, right, we're going to do an intro video, which I've just done at the beginning of this, and I'm going to do the intro, and once I've committed to the intro, I've got to follow through with the video. So get your shoes on, get your bag packed, get your water bottle, get your jeans on, and let's see where we can go. And I had no idea how far I was going to walk. I thought, I mean, you heard my breathing at the beginning of this, you know, just getting up that hill at the beginning, just a couple of meters, I was exhausted, but I pushed through. You know, it was right, I just want to get another 10 yards and do it in small steps, and before you know it, you've done everything that I've done in today's video. And I had no intention to do this. I had no idea what I was going to do. It's been tricky because the family seemed to be at the best part, so I'm not gonna film those. But you know, you've seen how many trees there are. Prune trees keeps you regular. This is the roots, the grassroots of community, of families, of people getting together. Look at these prunes. They're everywhere, and every time I think I'm on my way home, I find another place to hang out. Look, there's benches. Oh, he fell over. There's benches everywhere, you know. So I've been stopping whenever I needed, giving myself a break, not punishing myself, and it's been utterly rewarding. And I'm going to come back because I'm still not steady on my feet, clearly, but I can feel this is going to build my strength. And if I say, you know, I just want to get to the top of the hill, go and see the dahlias, see the dahlias daily, that's enough motivation for me. And then anything else is a bonus. So what I'm going to do is, I am lost. I'm going to find my way back and hopefully make it to the top of the hill for the sunset. Let's go. I hate it when people do this. Dog walkers, please stop doing this with your dog poop. At least get biodegradable bags. You're better off just slinging the poo in the bushes and not using a bag at all. This is never going to decompose, and it's an eyesore. Disappointing. All of this from there all the way up the back are blueberries. Now obviously these are going to be packed full of vitamin C and some omega-3s. They're going to be really good for you. So the best thing about these is that it's all completely wild, it's all completely natural, it's as far away from road pollution, traffic pollution as possible. You know, berries, apples, pears, all of those things that you eat the skin of can really absorb the pollutants from you know, industry, traffic. So hopefully these are going to be some of the nicest blackberries I'm going to be able to pick. So I'm going to go a little bit further up and dig deep. So I'm going back to the old traditions, and I've been sitting out in my front garden, Granddad's front garden. You know, all the action is Project Diaries is in the back garden, but I've been sitting in the front, and it's been amazing. I put the park bench at the front, and just speaking to the neighbours. I've seen some old school friends I haven't seen in years. You know, basically I grew up in this area, and you know, it's just been so nice. Oh, my back here. It's been so nice to kind of go full circle, like I've just done, and just try and see the world in different eyes. You know, I've been so caught up with, you know, building businesses and running clubs and going on tours and bands, and you know, I got caught up in unhealthy way of living and an unhealthy way of thinking. And I really think Project Diaries has allowed me to do that. I think the way that it's matured, or I've matured with it. You know, it just started off as a little thing to curb my boredom while I was looking after Grandad, and now it's turned into this life-changing thing. And I can't thank you guys enough. You know, it's the encouragement and the support from my subscribers, my viewers, and you know, I genuinely cannot thank you. You know, you guys are the ones that are pushing me to make my life better, so I can make these videos better and have such a diverse subject matter. You know, there was a lot of people when I did my, I think it was my doctors making me sick video, or my disability benefits video. People were like, oh, that escalated quickly, you've gone from gardening to mental health. And I think gardening is amazing for mental health. I think if you don't see the links there, then you've probably not been into gardening long enough. You know, it can change everything about you. It can change your mind, your body, your spirit, the way that you connect with the earth. Just, you know, being ill for so long and not being able to get in the garden and not getting my hands dirty and smell the earth and get connected with nature, it was hard work. Once I've had that connection, it's really hard not to be fit enough to do that. So yeah, gardening's pretty much saved my life, really. So, you know, I can't thank you guys enough. All the prunes, rows and rows and rows and rows. It's fantastic. Heck, you know, loads of them. I've never eaten them. I always felt old-fashioned. Something that Nan and Grandad always ate, but not me. But now I know they're here, I might look into adding them to my diet. We'll see. Look at the size of these. This is a great little trip. It's going to kill me, but it's a great little trip. So I was just walking around the roadside and I found this. Now I think this is Comfrey. Comfrey is incredible. If I haven't released the video yet, I will do soon. I've been growing this year and I'm so glad to find it out in the wild. This has so many beneficial nutrients. So you basically just take the leaves off and make it into a tea, and it's a fantastic fertilizer for all your plants. But there's loads of it around here. Look. Some up there. Oh, nearly fell over. Look at that. Amazing. Beautiful. Oh, that's made me really happy. So I made it, but I'm a little early. I think I'm an hour off sunset. But I guess the point of today's video is the fact that if you're struggling with motivation, you're trying to put stuff off till tomorrow, or for whatever reason you just feel lack of energy, or you just don't feel like you can do much. I'm near a main road now, so you're gonna hear some traffic. Don't see huge goals. Obviously have them, but if that's what's stopping you from doing anything, then just think of it smaller. So take today for an example. I was stuck on my sofa. I had no enthusiasm, no motivation. I just fancied watching TV, and I just thought, I need to get some vitamin D. So I went outside. I don't even think I was wearing my shoes. And then my neighbour came, told me the story about the community garden, which triggered my inspiration. Gave me those boosts that, the dopamine and adrenaline boost that I needed to kick me back into gear. And then I did the intro, and look where it's brought me. I've never been here. I've never walked here. I've never been able to walk here, even when I was good. But I've made it. And this is what I've achieved just by putting one foot in front of each other, with no goal. That's all. So, I'm just going to chill out and watch the sunset. Come here. Come here. What about you? Hello. Don't be afraid. I want to be friends. I want to be friends. Bah. Bah. So I hope you've enjoyed today's video, and it's been entertaining, it's been encouraging, and it's hopefully helped you through this really difficult time that everyone's having at the moment. This grass is getting really long. I'm going to be up to my neck in it. But yeah, hopefully we're getting through the worst. But step by step we can get through it. And I honestly can't thank those people that has given me the positivity and the drive and the inspiration. It's been so good. Like, this channel has definitely helped me through some very, very harsh and dark times. And I just wish I could express that in the best way possible, and I hope I am doing that in my videos. I know I'm struggling to get in the garden at the moment and give you everything that a lot of you have subscribed to get, but I'm hoping these kind of videos will also help you stay motivated and just just carry on. Keep calm and carry on. Yeah, that's the best one. Anyway. Hopefully see you all in the next one. Don't forget to subscribe and give this one a like. I'll see you again soon for the 6-week result. The results are amazing. Take care of yourself. Look after each other. I just want to take this opportunity to genuinely thank all of my supporters. Whether you message me on private messenger or you support me through PayPal or Patreon, I cannot thank you enough. If your name's not listed here and you've tried to reach me for anything other than gardening advice, please try to reach out again. I get thousands of messages daily and I really can't get through them all, but it's the important ones I really want to try and reply to. I've also just found a whole bunch of messages I haven't seen since 2018.
so I'm really sorry for not replying. So Alina, Ariel, Ginger, David, Anne and Jenna, thank you so much. Heather, Robin, Ben, Jeong, Fabiana, Hiena and Steve, your support is much appreciated. Old and Grey, I'm really sorry I missed your messages, but I hope you're okay now, mate. Lizzie, Daniel and Avid and Jack the Great Beard. I want to know how great your beard is. Let us all see on the Facebook gardening group. Thank you to Trista, Mia, Nick, Melissa, Bo, Cindy, Mandy, Christoph, Christy and Chris. Amy, thanks for getting in touch. It's so good to see you again. A big thank you to Amy J, Keith and Debbie. Thank you to Morris, Gillian, Amanda, Storm and Jack. A big thank you to Lauren for the recommendations and some great conversations over the past few days. Thank you to Aisha, Amy, Pauline, Matsuko, Ryan, and I hope I'm pronouncing this right. Thank you to Myra Sula. A big thank you to Anna, Kimberly, Amy, Peter, Heather, Andy, Anne-Marie, Felix, Rosa, Naomi, and a big thank you to Sierra. Thank you to Janky, Diane, Jean and Hilary. A massive thank you to William, Kelly and Sue, and a huge heartwarming thank you to Diana. Thank you so much. And not forgetting you. Thank you so much for making it this far in the video. Your support, words, messages and kindness are just incredible. It's really helping me get back on my feet and finding my motivation to carry on my Project Diaries. Thanks again, and I hopefully see you all in the next video. Take care of yourself and good luck gardening.
If you'd like to keep up to date on all of my future releases, click the subscribe button here. Here are some links to some of my other videos. And if you've tried this or any other project, I'd love to see your progress, so please join my Facebook gardening group where thousands of people are sharing photos and ideas daily. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you again next time.